Ann Johnson, Corporate Vice President, Security, Compliance, and Identity at Microsoft. Let me just say, Ann is a huge supporter of Wicked Six and the Women's Society of Cyber Jitsu. If you're not following her on Twitter, do so. She is a wonderful lady, another brilliant technician, strategist when it comes to cybersecurity, and we're very thankful for her continued support of the Women's Society of Cyber Jitsu, as well as women in cyber. She does a lot for us in getting our voice out there. So with that, let's hear from Ann Johnson.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm Ann Johnson. I'm a Corporate Vice President, Security, Compliance, Identity, Management, and Privacy at Microsoft. And a few years ago, I was honored to be a judge at the Wicked Six Games in Las Vegas. It was the first time I had ever experienced live cybersecurity gaming. It was invigorating. It was inspiring. We had to see these teams of young people working together to solve and overcome this wide variety of cybersecurity challenges. We also had in attendance the Microsoft Detection and Response team, a team we call DART. They were watching the competition and they were so excited and so animated during the event, during the play calls. As a huge professional sports fan myself, I'm a huge fan of the Chicago White Sox and of the Dallas Cowboys. It was like this parallel to being a fan in the stands watching those type of events. And I also remember when I started my cybersecurity career, and yes, it's been a couple of decades, there were two internal teams that were essential to helping a corporation strengthen their security posture. First, there was a blue team. The blue team was made up of a group of people who were responsible for performing an analysis of information systems to ensure a strong security posture and identify security flaws. They have verified the effectiveness of every security measure, and they had to make certain that all security measures would continue to be effective even after the implementation. We also had the red team. There's a lot of folks in the industry that are really excited to be on red teams. The red team is also an internal team. However, it's their responsibility to play the adversary. They're trying to not approach security from an inside out lens. They're trying to approach from an outside in. How do we break into the environment and how do we defeat the controls that were put in place by the blue team? Now, red teams have been used in a number of fields, especially in cybersecurity. They're used in airport security, they're used in military and in intelligence agencies. But many corporations today are leveraging these two teams by conducting internal drills, and they have blue and red team cyber exercises. In these drill scenarios, the blue team has to protect and has to patch every attack and every exploit on the organization that is found from the red team. They play this role of the enemy or the competitor, and they provide really necessary cyber feedback to the blue team. This was modeled after military training exercises, and these drills are a face-off between two teams of highly trained cybersecurity professionals. One that's using real-world adversary tradecraft in an attempt to compromise the environment, and the other team, the blue team, is a group of highly trained incident responders who work within an organization's security organization to identify, assess, and respond to the intrusion. What I've always loved is these simulations play such an important role in how organizations defend themselves against a wide range of cyber attacks because they help with a few things. They help to identify points of vulnerability, whether those vulnerabilities are human-based, technology-based, or they're actually system weaknesses. They also help determine areas of improvement in a defensive incident response process across every single phase of the kill chain. These exercises help an organization's firsthand experience about how to detect and contain a targeted attack, and the exercises help develop response or remediation activities and will improve an organization's operational resilience. So when the blue teams and the red teams work in unison and share information, we have this concept called purple teaming. I actually call it Nirvana, security Nirvana, because ultimately this sharing is really what we want these teams to do and to learn from. Their collective insights will create how an organization can refine, can create a new posture, or just pivot their existing security strategy. Now, I want you to take a step back because I'm going to share something that I think is really beyond evolutionary and has the potential to blow your mind. When you think about how the elite red and blue cybersecurity teams train, how they work to improve their ability to identify vulnerabilities, and how they commit time and attention to perform simulations to improve these response times, this is all in an effort to defend their organizations against cyber criminals. But what I want you to think about is how much your participation in Wicked Six games emulates what the red and blue teams do. What you are doing today, what you learn from these exercises is equally as important to refining and improving your own cyber skills. Your work here today is critical to protecting the planet and empowering every single person and organization to achieve more. You truly are red and blue teaming today. Microsoft publishes something we call the Microsoft Digital Defense Report annually, and we know from this report that nation-state attackers are not just in this for espionage or just to obtain state secrets. Nation-state actors are targeting human rights defenders, they're targeting journalists, they're targeting healthcare organizations, and they are infiltrating hospitals with ransomware, as well as attacking academia to disrupt innovation. We know that nation-state activity spans nearly every industry, sector, and geographic region. In other words, developing protections against this tactic and all of their tactics are critical for every organization and for every individual. So in this corporate world that I live in, we can forget about the human piece sometimes. The target that is individuals. But the adoption of things like IoT and the huge acceleration in remote services, both at home and in the workplace, increases risk, increases attack surfaces, and increases the vulnerability of humans beyond corporations. Things like IoT, operational technology, OT, and supply ecosystems have often been treated in isolation, but to counterattack, security has to take a holistic approach. These multiple layers of defense, such as multi-factor authentication, things like least privilege, what we're calling zero trust, can help at all layers, including your IoT, OT, and your other supply ecosystems. We all need to come together because creating a secure world is not just about building new technology. It's equally important to create a workforce that's well-informed and ready to take on the real security threat. And make no mistake, what you are doing today, the efforts, the participation today, it's incredibly fun and engaging, but it's really an important step toward this progress of creating a safer world for everyone. Now, I have often been quoted as saying, our teams need to be as diverse as the problems we are trying to solve. We know from a wide variety of studies, including the World Economic Forum, that diversity will spark innovation. Cities with large immigration populations tend to have higher economic performance. This is a data that is available to us today. Businesses who have diverse management teams tend to have higher revenues. And a C-suite with more women like you is likely to be more profitable. Does it get any better? We're saving the world, and we're growing our business, and we're protecting society. The bottom line is that there is a huge driver for change because women still only make up about 20% of the cybersecurity industry. And today it's just not merely about how to include and help train women as participants in the cyber workforce. It's bigger than that. Today is about how we collectively activate girls and women to redefine the workforce in whole, to facilitate change. I want you to consider, but by the year 2025, millennials and Gen Zers will make up 75% of the workforce. My generation, Gen X, is starting to age out of the workforce, as are the boomers. There are new ways of thinking, and we have to activate, accelerate, and appreciate those new ways of thinking. Women are going to be the majority of those two demographics of millennials and Gen Z when you combine them. That means we have this amazing opportunity. We have an opportunity to influence the culture of work. And most importantly, we have an opportunity to rethink how we take on cyber criminals. By influencing a new culture of work, one that embraces diversity and moves beyond traditional schools of thought and how we train and retain employees, we open the door to creativity, we open the door to innovation, and we improve problem solving. We will move away from groupthink just by this change in the workforce. Now, our adversaries know all about our groupthink. They look for the weaknesses, they understand our playbooks, they understand our bias, and they understand the bias that create and cultivate this group thinking mentality. Do you know how? They do it because it's become what's known as the 8 symptoms of groupthink, a term coined by Yale psychologist Irving Janis, who researched the systemic errors made by groups when making collective decisions. These 8 symptoms of groupthink include illusions of invulnerability. You're all aligned, so you must be right. Unquestioned beliefs. This is what we are doing because we all believe it. Rationalization. We rationalize even against evidence that tells us we are wrong. Stereotyping. We self-censor. When you're in groupthink, you tend to self-censor. You yourself might have an idea, oh, it goes against the group, I'm not going to mention that. We have mind guards. We put on ourselves controls in how we think about things subconsciously. And we have illusions that we've come to unanimous decisions because we're responding to pressure from the group. So when we embrace this understanding that diversity needs to overcome groupthink, and then we apply that to cyber teams, we're opening the door to a new way of problem solving, opening the door to creativity, and opening the door to innovation. We're creating a new culture of work and a new way to tackle cybercrime. Now, whether it's this year, 2022 or beyond, we can expect that cybersecurity challenges will evolve just as they always have. We can expect cyber criminals to be opportunistic, exploiting the evolving news headlines and trends in their socially engineered attacks. But let's not, however, allow these bad actors to continue to exploit our bias. That also should apply to your career path. I encourage all of you to get out of your comfort zones, explore your options beyond your own personal bias and perceptions about what you think you can and what you cannot do. The cybersecurity industry is huge and it's growing, from engineering to research teams to security ops to security operations to marketing, communications, ethical hackers, architects. These are just literally a handful. The career opportunities are endless. There's human resources in cybersecurity. There's legal in cybersecurity. There are aspects of cybersecurity that aren't necessarily even super technical careers. You need to be expansive in how you think about that. So let me tell you also, women have this tendency to think they need to fulfill 100% of a job description to apply. Don't do that. Don't limit yourself. Go for it. Because if you don't, someone else will. And if you still have doubts, I have 3 pieces of advice. Get a mentor who can guide you on your cyber destination. Talk with your professor. Connect with people on LinkedIn who are in the career you want and ask them about their path. Ask them, how did they get there? And follow the cybersecurity community on social media, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. There's a robust community. And they are some of the most engaging people you are ever going to meet. If you ask a question, whether it's about what conference to attend or an attack method that they have their eyes on, they will answer. It is a really great community. So when we look at how our cyber teams can and should evolve, we must continue thinking about diversity of thought to our problem solving. Our cybersecurity teams should be as diverse as the problems we are trying to solve, and that includes you. The bad actors are in this cyber for the long game. We also have to be in it for the long game. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for investing in time. I want to welcome you. This is going to be an amazing event, and I wish you the best of success.